We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Karibuni sana, karibu sana. I think it was a copyright issue on the previous live that I had. So that's why they kind of struck it down. The stream was ended because I was using stuff from another news, whatever case it was. So here we are again on the second one. So don't worry, we are okay. We are Mambo Sambamba. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, and comments, this is Kenyan Revolutionary. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get started with the news of the day. I won't hold you. Syllabus inakimbia sana. Niliambiwa nifungue. Yes, we are back. I told you. Karibu sana Principal Kauru. Ani pia unakuwa na hapo. I look for wacha nitafute gaito. Meanwhile, here is what is in the news. So, hebu tuangalie mwanzo. Tumeambiwa kesho ni kesho. Asemaye ninio ni mwongo. Ati kesho ni kesho. Leo ni leo oreza. Karibuni sana. Okay, let's get started. Tuanze na the news about what's about to happen in AU. Ama namna gani? All right, let's get started. Tuachane na hiyo maneno mengine. Haya. Ndio hiyo basi. Ndio hiyo mambo ya AU ichemke, mambo ichemke. Okay. All right. Poleni. Mambo ni pole kidogo. Pole tu kidogo. Pole. Most utafika. All right. We are moving on. Ama namna gani? Sawa. As long as we can get this naona karibuni sana guys, karibu like. The first issue is to like the video. Please go ahead and like the channel, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please go ahead and do that. Okay, we are having technical difficulties hapa sasa. Okay. Okay, we are really actually having some difficulties today, yeah? Wale marafiki zetu ambao wanafanyanga ile kitu wamejaribu kweli. So, according to Robert Alai, former Uhuru Kenyatta is in Addis Ababa also. Hey, mambo kweli Addis Ababa hii. Haya, tutaiona. But anyway, let's try to get started with this news clip. I'm telling you. Hey. Wale watu na ninio ambao wanajaribu kuninio masabatuas wako kweli wanafanya kazi leo. You gotta give it to them. They work really hard. But twendeni kazi. All right. Yeah.
Is joining us live from Addis Ababa, where he will give us the insights into the key developments, the major contenders, and what this election means for the future of the AU. Kyoyo, tell us, what is the latest?
Thank you very much. Back in studio. And indeed, as you have rightly pointed out, the contest that is going to be happening tomorrow pits the Honorable Raila Odinga against Randriaman.
I guess saying anything opposing Raila Odinga. Lakini unachekesha jamani. Ni sawa, tutangangana. Hakuna shida boss. Fight over good over evil. Tutajaribu hata kama ni nini. We shall. Wow. All right. They're really fighting. Okay.
We finally beat.
Hey. Is joining us live from Addis Ababa, where he will give us the insights into the key developments, the major contenders, and what this election means for the future of the AU. Kyoyo, tell us what is the latest.
Thank you very much. Back in studio. And indeed, as you have rightly pointed out, the contest that is going to be happening tomorrow pits the Honorable Raila Odinga against that is Richard Randiamandratu. That name is quite a piece. From Madagascar, as well as Mohamed Yusuf of Djibouti. Probably before I tell you what will happen tomorrow, is that up until now, there's been a session on the security situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The heads of state who are already in Ethiopia are attending that very important session and intends to discuss possible solutions for the crisis in DRC. You will remember that about 2 weeks ago, the M23 rebels stormed into Goma, a town that is in the territory of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they have been advancing towards a town called Bukavu, and that has caused quite a nightmare in terms of compounding a humanitarian solution. I mean, a humanitarian crisis, as well as dealing with the security nightmare for the people of North Kivu and South Kivu. And that is what is being discussed. You also know that there is what you would call a diplomatic row between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, and that also will feature in those conversations. We understand, other than President William Ruto, who is attending that meeting, the fourth president of the Republic, Uhuru Kenyatta, was also attending that very particular meeting. Now, what happens tomorrow is from 10 a.m., we shall have the opening session of this 48th meeting of the heads of state and government. And from there, of course, there will be opening remarks by Musa Faki Mahamat, the outgoing chairperson of the African Union Commission. We shall also have the chairperson of the African Union. Remember, the chairperson of the African Union is different from the chairperson of the African Union Commission. So the chairperson of the African Union is actually the president of Mauritania, who will be actually handing over that position to the president of Angola. That is Lorenzo Lorenzo of Angola. That is the person who will be taking over the reins of the African Union. After that, we're likely to hear a speech from the president of the state of Palestine. Remember, Africa really has been insistent on ending the crisis that continues, or rather that was unfolding in Gaza. And you remember also remarks that have been made by the American president, that is Donald Trump, regarding what is happening in Gaza. And that conversation is also likely to feature. After that, they will retreat to closed sessions, lunch, and then again another closed session. And then in the afternoon closed session is when we're likely to see the election of the next African Union Commission chairperson. Probably by around 5 or 6, we should be having the results of that election. The meeting will also extend up until Sunday again, and the heads of state will also be having a raft of discussions. But very quickly, let me explain how this exercise will be conducted. The 3 candidates will be subjected to a vote 3 rounds, and in these 3 rounds, it means if the first round the candidate does not, any of the candidate does not get the requisite 33 votes, it means it will be subjected to another round and another. But on the third round, the one of the candidates must be dropped, which means we will remain with 2. That is if none of them has achieved the 2/3 majority. When we go to the 4th vote, it means then we shall be having 2 candidates, and one of them must be dropped. That is if none of them achieves the 2/3 vote. One of them must be dropped to take one candidate to the 5th vote. In the 5th vote, if that candidate gets the requisite 2/3 majority, they automatically become the African Union Commission chairperson to be sworn in the month of March. If he doesn't garner the 2/3 majority, and we're talking about 33 votes, it means then that election will be postponed up until the month of July. Remember now, the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and the Minister for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs has warned Africa against the possibility of postponing this election because it would portray African leaders as being weak and indecisive. The stakes are high. The negotiations are up. And just as you have seen in that story, President William Ruto has been shuffling between one meeting and another to rally his peers in the African continent to back Kenya's candidate, that is.
Okay. All right. So we are told tomorrow by 6 local time, Addis Ababa time. I believe Nairobi is in the same time zone with Addis Ababa. So by 6 p.m. in the evening time, we shall know the results of whether we have a new AUC chairperson or not. I'm joined by Jared Wangira. Mr. Jared Wangira, please, karibu sana. Start where you want to start. The topic is anything Kenyan politics. So if you want to mention the AU, if you want to mention what's happening in the legislative body with the Tangle and the gang, or any matter that you feel you need to share with us, karibu sana. The floor is yours.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Oh, it has been a while. It has been a while.
Yes. I thought maybe you also went to Ethiopia with 100 of your members of parliament.
you know, I belong to the other side. So, you know, my chances of being in Ethiopia, you know, are very limited.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
you know, you have heard, you know, Musalia Mudavadi saying that, you know, the African heads of state and government should not postpone this particular election because they will be seen as indecisive. You know,
Yes.
that's a point of panic. That's a point of panic for Kenya. Why? Because, you know, the rules are clear that if none gets, you know, in the third round, if none gets, you know, the two-thirds majority, then the election must be postponed, you know, for another 1 year, I believe. You know, that those are the rules. Then why should Musalia Mudavadi say that, you know, if the elections are postponed, then, you know, the African leaders will look indecisive? You know, I don't think so. You know, I see a panicking Musalia Mudavadi. You know, he has been the one at the forefront of campaigning for Raila Odinga. And, you know, among those people who are convinced that Raila Odinga is likely not to become the African Union Commission chairperson tomorrow. I am among those who are convinced.
Why is that?
And I'm waiting for tomorrow to be disapproved. But, you know, I have reasons why. Reason number one, you know, let us start from the East African bloc, the East African community. The East African community, already Somalia cannot vote for Raila. There's the issue of the maritime dispute between Kenya and Somalia that has not been, you know, the International Court of Justice ruled that, you know, that coastline was rightly owned by Somalia, and, you know, up to today, Kenya, you know, has not ceded. Secondly, there's the issue of Somaliland. If you know, Somaliland, you know, is a country that's in 1991 that, you know, moved out of the main Somali and has been running its own government. And, you know, Raila Odinga was among those people who are advocating for Somaliland, you know, to secede from the larger Somali. And, you know, it brought a lot of issues. So, you know, when we start with East Africa, Somalia will not vote for, is it Somalia or Somali? It will not vote for Raila Odinga. You know, Burundi, you know, I'm married in Burundi. Those are my brothers-in-laws. I call them my buffs, you know. So Burundi, I also have my doubts with Burundi on whether Burundi will vote for Raila Odinga. And these are my reasons. You know, Burundi and Congo DRC today, Burundi is fighting alongside Congo DRC today in Eastern Congo, you know, to try and defeat the M23. In fact, it's because of Burundi that M23 has not reached Bukavu. It's because of Burundi that M23 has not reached Bukavu, the Burundian army. And, you know, yesterday it was in the papers where my brother-in-law, the president of Burundi, was telling Kagame that, you know, they are ready to face him on, you know, if it's about wars, you know, they are ready to face him on. So Burundi and Congo DRC, I see some doubts because, you know, they feel that, you know, President William Samoei Ruto is, favoring, Rwanda against them. So, there's that feeling that, you are favoring Rwanda against us. So, Burundi and Congo DRC, there's no guarantee that they will vote for Raila Odinga. Then there's another one called Tanzania. Tanzania, you cannot be sure unless you are sure. They are very sly people, Tanzanians. I remember when I was working in the committees in the Great Lakes and even in the East African community. I understand those people. They are very sly. Watakwambia tutakupigia, and unless you see their votes, you cannot be sure. You remember in 2017, they did not vote for that lady called Amina here. They never voted for her. And then, South, there is that historical association of, Tanzania with the Southern African countries. You remember Nyerere, the Nyerere's involvement in the liberation struggle in the Southern Africa, in countries like Zimbabwe, I believe, South Africa, I think Mozambique. There was a lot of Tanzanian involvement. So Tanzanians, feel at home more in the South than they feel at home with Kenyans. With Kenyans. And we have our historical differences, since 1960s. The issue of Ujamaa against, what was a capitalistic, a capitalistic, philosophy of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So I'm not very, very sure whether, because already SADC has a candidate in the name of Madagascar, the guy with the longest name that I can pronounce, is a candidate, and SADC wrote to their members asking them, there are 16 of them, asking them to vote for the Madagascar guy. So for the Madagascar guy, there are 16 of them. And SADC is a more concrete, economic bloc than even the EAC, because they even have a defense pact where they say that if you attack one of us, then you have attacked all of us, and that's the reason why they're even in Congo DRC. So I see challenges there, and then there is this issue of the religion, Islam against Christianity, then language, Anglophone against Francophone. For example, the Madagascar guy is a Francophone to start with, and his country is a member of SADC. This guy in Djibouti, he speaks French, he speaks Arabic. So, there's that association of those Arab countries in the north of Africa. Then there's the Islamic factor, there is the French factor. So, finally, there's also the Kenyan the political bad manners, what my good friend PLO Lumumba calls, political bad manners. And the African continent is alive to our bad political believe that trying to export our political bad manners, out of Kenya. The reason there even talks, in the corridors that the reason why William Samoei Ruto wants a Raila Odinga, out of the space is for him to have a smooth ride in 2027. And all those things are being seen. So where I stand, this guy from Madagascar, many people think that he's an underdog. The guy with the longest name, the guy from Madagascar. Many people think that he's an underdog. In fact, every time people are speaking about, Djibouti, Kenya, they don't talk about the Madagascar guy. And, that guy is very eloquent, very knowledgeable, a cool guy, very, very cool guy. And, given the nature of SADC and, also the French speaking, so, you can underrate him. You can think that he's an underdog, but, he's not. So where I stand, where I stand, if Raila Odinga is not very, very careful, he might not go beyond the first round. Let me just stop it there and perhaps, allow you to make me, continue with the debate.
Yes, very, very good analysis. I think, and you've just reminded me, I forgot about Tanzania's involvement with SADC. They have a rich history with South Africa. I remember reading the book, Mandela's book, The Long Walk to Freedom. And there's a chapter there where he mentioned that they went through Julius Mwalimu Nyerere. they went and trained in Tanganyika. I think those are the days when they used to call it Tanganyika. Jomo Kenyatta did not give him any time to Ninio, did not support him. So he got support from Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, and Tanganyika, where they were actually getting arms and training them on Kotosizwe, along with some Zimbabweans. And Angolans, they train in Tanganyika. So yes, you are right. You're very right. I like that you brought that up. That Tanzania actually have a very, very, very strong connection with South Africa. Now, I was thinking, yes, this memo that was they gave out on the 12th for that, so that the SADC vote for their candidate, Mr. Richard, that long name that we both don't know. But I feel like Raila Odinga and Ramaphosa, I think they have a connection, a personal connection. And I thought maybe, Ramaphosa might vote for Raila just because of their, personal friendship. But again, since this vote is going to be, it's going to be a secret ballot, maybe Ramaphosa might not vote for Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga might not find out who voted for him or not. But this is what I wanted to ask you.
Let me say one thing just before you come in. There is this assumption that Raila Odinga has a rapport with several Africans head of state. But let me remind you of the late Mzee Moi, who said that siasa sio urafiki, uongozi sio urafiki. So we are talking about leadership here. It's not about leadership. It's not about your friendship with a particular president. Because it's about, there are many factors. The geopolitics. There are many factors that that determines who becomes the chairperson of the African Union Commission. It's not about friendship. So relying on friendship alone, as the only indicator that will make you get voted for by Ramaphosa, could be, overlooking things.
Yes. And this whole thing with the 100 MPs plus family members, I actually saw this, the daughter of Raila Odinga, I forgot her name, is the daughter, that one daughter that is in Yala, also join him, and all this Junet and all these people. What was the main thing? What are they trying to do? Because to me, it may seem like Kenyans have flooded, lawmakers have flooded AU as part of Raila's delegation to kind of try to pressure these African leaders, pressure them to vote for Raila Odinga. I mean, I can't interpret it otherwise. I mean, if I'm sitting there and I'm a head of state and I see Raila Odinga with his delegation of 100 and yes,
I get that point. It gives a very, very bad picture. Because, what will be sitting tomorrow will be the Assembly of Africans, head of state and government, which means that is the apex body of the African Union. So, for you to be accompanied by over 100 members of parliament, together with a lot of other joyriders, it gives a very, very bad picture. It looks like a blackmail that you perhaps want to blackmail, the Africans, head of state into voting for you. So that picture is not a good picture. And that picture alone, could work in the detriment of Raila Odinga.
Yes. I thought that's the first thing that I thought. Why do you have an army of lawmakers joining you there? It just shows that you are trying to pressure these lawmakers into voting for you. I gave my analysis and I said that Raila will be lucky to get 15 votes. I don't think he will get more than 15 for the very reason that you've given me. Now, if SADC already have captured the 16 SADC members, even if we take out 2, maybe Suluhu decides to vote for Raila Odinga and maybe, I don't know, Ramaphosa for some reason, it still remains. He'll have 2 votes from that. And Somali, you've just kind of gave a very wonderful reason why Somali will probably not vote for Kenya because of the whole Somaliland and the Kismayu thing that happened years ago. So if I'm looking at North, it's either going to be going to the Eritrea guy or the Madagascar guy, because I believe that Madagascar guy is also a Muslim, if I'm not wrong. Or if not, they will just give it to the other guy. Then there's the Francophone nation, the West Africa. And when I was listening at was it Kitui, whatever his name is, some guy, one of these guys, and he said the same thing. The Francophone nations, they usually like voting as a bloc. Okay, the West, the Francophone nations, and since language is not Raila's strongest suit here, I mean, he speaks German and English, and I don't think besides Obasanjo in Nigeria and Tinubu, I don't see anyone from the Francophone nations that will vote for Raila Odinga. Kutui, yeah, thank you, Kutui. Kutui also, mentioned that, and he said, he kind of, we had the same sentiments where he was saying, Raila will have an uphill battle into getting this vote. I saw the Senegalese president, he's young and he's probably thinking the same way as, the Ibrahim Traore. He's trying to revolutionize Africa, his country, getting away from France. And Kenya is being viewed.
And
yes,
again,
go ahead.
And again, the vision for African Union, if I'm not very, very, very wrong, is something, Vision 2063. So, somebody who can drive us towards, Vision 2063 should be a young, vibrant person. A young, vibrant person. So do you think that an 80-year-old man is in a position, to steer Africa towards, 2063? So I believe that even the age factor, the fact that Raila Odinga is now over 80 years of age because he celebrated his 80th birthday on the 7th of January, that's another factor. Because people will be asking, if we want to move Africa towards 2063, then why do we want an old man, to steer us towards that direction? Perhaps we need a much younger person, a person who will perhaps be alive, come 2063. Do you think that Baba, even if God would to allow him to live long, will be alive in 2063? In 2063, another almost 40 years from now? So, those are factors that, the people who advised Raila Odinga to run for this particular position never looked at. But, they are likely to work against him. Age alone is a factor. Because, the Djibouti guy is 55. Raila is 80, almost 81. So that's a difference of 25 years of age, 25 years. 25 years, and we are talking about Africa 2063. Then you wonder whether Raila Odinga would be in a position even to draw a paper that can lead us towards, 2063 at the age of 80. So, those are some of the factors that were overlooked. And, many people are arguing that, Trump is over 78, almost Raila Odinga's age. And they're arguing that, we have leaders who are almost that age. This is not a country. This is an organization of an entire continent, that derives policies, that writes the policies of the entire continent. So, for you, if you want, these policies to be derived in the manner that they should be, then you need a much younger person, not a person who is 80 years of age. Like they said, African Union Commission should not be a retirement plan. But the way things look, it seems to be a retirement plan for Raila Odinga. And there are people who are looking at it from that direction, and that could be one of the reasons why he might not be elected tomorrow to become the African Union Commission chairperson.
Yes, I heard that's what the Eritrean candidate, not Eritrea, Djibouti candidate say that Africa is not a retirement plan or whatever the case is. Now, this is what I argued, and I'd like you to help me with this and give your opinion on this. I argue that Raila coming back to Kenya is actually beneficial to Ruto than Raila going to AUC. Reason being, when the Gen Z were on the streets and they were threatening to remove Ruto after they just did what they did in the parliament, it was Raila Odinga who came to his rescue. And that's why Ruto still is sitting in that office today. So in case Raila Odinga goes to AUC, wins it, I think Ruto will be more vulnerable because Azimio already have the the parliament and probably the Senate, though I can't count on those MPs or those lawmakers. But in case there's a resurgence of the Gen Z movement where they, have another onslaught of this popular protest, who will come to Ruto's rescue? Because if you look at Raila Odinga, like him or not, 2017 with that handshake, yes, we were going to remove him after Raila took that alichukua kipao. He was going to be, Nani Kenyatta was going to be removed, but Raila Odinga again went and had a handshake. So who will save Ruto this time if the Gen Zs join forces with whoever wants to join forces with them and they decide that they're marching to State House? Because this time there'll be no Raila Odinga. So that's my argument. I don't know if you look at it that way, because I feel like Raila being away, it leaves Ruto in a very, very difficult position in case the whole country, as it is right now, are basically against him. If they decide to march to State House, who will he enter into a handshake with?
Let me tell you something yesterday that I read online. I don't know how true it is, but whether the views there were true views, or it was just another of the many fake generations that come up. But there was something about it. Whoever authored it said that we are waiting for Saturday, which is tomorrow, which is today now. Here in Kenya is already Saturday, and they were saying that if they were Munyoro group, the Mount Kenya group, if you laugh at us, then we will be joining William Samoei Ruto to punish you come 2027. That's what the author said. Then we'll also be looking at the Ruto side. If they also laugh at us, we'll be joining the Wamunyoro side, to punish, William Samoei Ruto. So, there could be sense in what you're saying that, the absence of Raila Odinga in the Kenyan political sphere could create a vacuum. And this vacuum, if well exploited by the GNC, could be in a position, to create the much change that we want. For example, you're bringing a very, very, very important question, because, a very, very important point, rather, that, in case, there are a demonstration, equal to the ones that we had, the Gen Z ones that we had in June last year, in the absence of Raila Odinga, we'll be in a position to quell them. No, because by not Raila Odinga, and if in case we end up with such such demonstrations in Kenya, it could be difficult to quell them, because they will go out of control. And it will become very difficult to quell them. And again, there is this assumption by William Samoei Ruto team that when Raila Odinga is out there, is automatically going to inherit, Raila Odinga's, political backyard. That's an assumption, and I don't know how truly it will work. Because, if you listen to ordinary Kenyans, their problems remain the same.
Okay. Can you hear me?
The poverty rate is high.
Wangira, I'm losing you. You are in and out. Okay, Mr. Wangira, I lost you. I can't hear you anymore. Rudia tena, Mr. Wangira.
Okay.
Okay, that's better.
I think I'm back. So, I was telling you that, the problems, facing Kenyans, across borders, same problems, poverty, the levels of poverty are high. Unemployment is high. The healthcare system has collapsed. The education system is, beyond reach. So, we across board. It does not matter whether you are Azimio or you are Kenya Kwanza. The problems that you face as an ordinary citizen are same. And
Now,
minor,
yeah, go
let me just finish. There's
sorry.
likely to be that excitement. There's likely to be that excitement, among Raila Odinga supporters, when he's elected to become the chair of African Union. But like what I call the paper fire, the excitement will die as fast, as it comes. And in another 3 months, people will discover that we are still stuck where we are. And in case of now, a revolution like the one that was the Gen Z revolution in place, it will be very, very difficult to quell it, just like I've told you, because, the Raila figure, it was easier for him, to call his troops in order. But, this will be troops that are free there without a commander. They will be out there free without a commander. We'll call them back. It will be impossible. And, there's a big number of the young blood, when I say young blood, the Gen Zs and below. They call it the Alpha, then the Gen Zs, These are the young blood. There are many, many of them. So, Raila Odinga, in a way, he was a moderator or a regulator of the Kenyan politics. And, out there, and with, the excitement having died, like what I've told you, or paper fire, Raila Danny William Samoei Ruto could find himself in hot soup.
Yes. Now, on the flip side, Raila comes back. Some people argue that this will kind of revitalize his energy, his political vibe, so to say. Okay, like him coming back will be okay. He's coming back with this hasira, or he will reassert himself, remass himself in the political sphere, in Kenyan political sphere, as this warrior who lost a battle in AU. Now he's coming back to straighten out things in Kenya. Could that also play as to Raila's advantage, him coming back, and now people maybe wanting to please him more because akuna hasira? Now he will probably have leverage over Ruto because he controls at least his party, or Azimio, his affiliation, controls the legislative body. And, he might threaten to remove Ruto. And if he chooses to even join hands with Wamunyoro, Ruto might find himself in a very difficult question. What do you think when he comes back?
Let me tell you one thing. The Raila that we knew, was distinguished in June last year. And what we have as Raila is a shadow of his former self. And these are my reasons. Apart from, the Luo Nyanza, where Raila still maintains, a stronghold, outside Luo Nyanza, you'll find that, people are today asking questions. You go to Kisiland, people are asking questions. You come to Western Kenya, among the Luyas where I was born, people are asking questions, and many people are saying that, if Raila Odinga was to go to the ballots, they will not vote for him again. Many, many people who used to be ODM members, have made a decision that, Raila Odinga, if he was to come back and, he goes to the ballot, they will not vote for him. In fact, the talk is that, they wish him well, that, he clinches, the seat in the African Union. And if he does not clinch that particular seat, then he should come back home and retire. That's what many people outside Luo Nyanza are saying. And let me tell you, if Raila was to run in 2027, assuming that he has lost the African Union Commission elections, and he returns back to Kenya and tries to run in 2027, then the likelihood of Raila getting more than 3 million votes, are limited. They are very, very limited, those likelihoods. And that tells you something, that even if Raila Odinga was to return here and join forces with William Samoei Ruto against, the other team, let me call it the team of Wakina, assuming that Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Wakina Matiang'i, Wakina Maraga, and the rest, if they end up forming one strong united front, and this front runs against Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto's front in 2027. Then this other front, coupled up with, with the Raila Odinga's team. So that tells you one thing, that, the Raila Odinga that we knew in 2022 is no longer there. It's no longer there politically, because the numbers are gone. People are disoriented. People are annoyed. People are hungry. People feel betrayed by this old man. People feel that they have been wasting their time supporting him. So that Raila Odinga of 2022 is no longer there politically. So if he was to return here, he'll be a former shadow of himself.
Now, what's the ground like in Western Province? I'm assuming maybe you have some connections there. What's the general feeling? Are they leaning towards the new coalition, the Martha Karua, Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, Natembea, Matiangi, or are they leaning towards the ODM, Azimio, and of course, that's, I don't know if Wetangula's position, if he loses his position as the Speaker of the National Assembly, will that also tilt the support of the Western Kenya? Because I don't know if is he a Bukusu or a Tesos, I'm not sure, but how does, because I think the Western Province will tilt the next election if we are to go to 2027, if we ever get there. So I feel that's the that province that's going to tilt the election if you're playing this number game, because Ruto is trying to give IDs to the Somalis and probably inflate the numbers of the people who will vote for him from Northeastern. Then he's banking on Nyanza, and also he's trying to make inroads in Western. So I think Western is going to be the swing state the swing province that's going to decide the election 27 if we are to have this election, which will probably, Ruto will try to do Ilekitu. What's the general feeling of the people of Western Province, Mulembe Nation?
The general feeling, especially among what used to be Raila's stronghold, is disappointment. And the way Raila Odinga's, supporters, especially from his own community, have treated people like Wakina Sifuna. It has not gone down well with majority of people from Luyaland. They feel that they are being used like flower boys and flower girls. And, they are already saying, majority of them are saying that, they are not going the ODM way 2027. They'll look for any other place to go, but they are not going the ODM way. And, that's a strong voice on the ground in Western Kenya. And that's the reason why I was telling you that Raila Odinga of today is not the Raila Odinga of 2022, is a shadow of his former self. That's why I was telling you so. So, in Western Kenya, where people stand, they feel, having been let down by Raila Odinga. And that's why I was telling you that, if Raila Odinga was to join William Samoei Ruto, hoping that, he'll be in a position to transfer his votes to William Samoei Ruto, that will be a very, very difficult task for him. Perhaps it will be easier in Luo Nyanza, but in Western Kenya, I don't think that it will be easier. The votes in Western Kenya could go the other end, because people there are already disappointed, and they're fed up.
What if they bring this BBI, what if they bring it for a referendum? We change this constitution so we can create this position for all these leaders, whether it's Mudavadi, Wetangula will also be looking for a position if he leaves that Neo. Because I always say that even Ruto himself, liking himself with Kibaki, it's a coincidence. 20 years ago, Kibaki faced the same kind of political storm in his second year, midterm, in his administration, where he fell off with Raila Odinga, and then we had a referendum in November of 2005 with the orange versus banana. 20 years later, Ruto also is facing, a political storm the second year, mid-season, where the Gen Z wants to take him out. Everyone wants to take him out. And they went and had that NADCO, whatever. And they started talking about changing the constitution through this NADCO. But again, Raila is going to AU. At least this AU thing is kind of holding that up. So do you maybe feel, since Ruto and Raila, they feel like they're not popular enough, people don't like them, they feel like they're the betrayers, so it will be best for them to get people like Kalonzo, who actually signed that NADCO, get Wamunyoro also in there, Gachagua, Matiangi, and all these people, and convince them that this BBI will accommodate everyone that feels left out in the government. Could it be something that they could do, or is it something that people will reject? What's the general mood of people? Do they want the constitution to be changed?
That's where I was coming to. There's what they call a constitutional mood. That constitutional mood. Because, there must be that mood within the people themselves, Like you remember in 1991 up to 2010, there was that political constitutional mood. People wanted the constitution to be changed. Where I stand today as a person who lives in this country, I don't see that mood. In fact, what Kenyans want is, for the constitution to be implemented. Because, things like, the fight against corruption, such things don't need, an amendment of the constitution. They only need, the implementation of the constitution. Implement the constitution, then we are ready to go. Article 10, that is the backbone of the 2010 constitution, the values, the values of governance, they don't need any amendment. They only need the implementation. So, where I stand, that constitutional moment is called the constitutional moment. Where I stand today, that constitutional moment does not exist at all. Does not exist at all. Because, where people of Kenya stand, it's not about, amending the constitution. It's about implementing the constitution. Because the people of Kenya believe if you implement the constitution well today, then it will not matter, who is the president. If the president could be Somali, it could be Bajuni. The Bajuni is a small community in Lamu. Bajuni, I think they could be less than 100,000. The president could be Bajuni. It could be Turukana. But so long as, he's adhering to the constitution, then the people of Kenya will be ready to go. Like the issue in America today, where even Trump, was cutting, what is supposed to be, foreign aid out of America. And, because of stronger institutions, the court in America said today that, you cannot do that because it was already budgeted for, and the parliament in America passed that, such, aid goes to foreign countries. So, those are what we call strong institutions. So, in Kenya, all that the people want, is to see that their institutions are strong and that the institutions are working. That's all that they want to see. It's not about, changing the constitution, because, changing the constitution where we stand to create jobs for 2 or 3 or 4 people, or to majority of people, it does not help. And, people have discovered that, you just be creating jobs for a number of few people. But at the end of the day, it will not benefit the larger population of the people of Kenya. So where we stand, that constitutional moment does not exist. And if Ruto was to try and push for the amendment of the constitution, then perhaps he could face the same stillbirth as it happened in 2005. Remember, during the banana and the orange, referendum, where the banana lost. He could equally lose, because the people of Kenya are not excited about amending the constitution. Where I stand, and because I live in this country, I don't hear them say that they want the constitution amended. What I hear them say is that they want good governance, and that's all.
Now, last question. 2027. What's your view on it? Do you see Ruto retaining his seat? Do you see a new president? Do you see a revolution happening before then? What's Mr. Wangira's prediction? What's going to happen if I was to give you a crystal ball? What do you see in that ball?
It's tricky, and I tell you, it's tricky, and it will all depend on how also things play out at the African Union Commission elections tomorrow. But it's tricky because the situation here in Kenya is shaky. It's still shaky because despite the fact that, the young people moved out of the streets, but, the situation remains shaky. Look at the postings, the war has been, the war has retreated into the social media space, that's where the battle is. And that tells you that, the ground is very, very shaky. And, if if the atmosphere was to change a bit, then, perhaps, you never know what could happen. So I don't want to talk about 2027 because I don't know whether we will vote in 2027. But at all, if we reach 2027, then it will be a bitterly fought election. It will be a bitterly fought election. It will not be very easy for William Samoei Ruto to win. I'm not saying that he cannot win. He can win because, there's what we call, the power of the incumbents. And, in Africa, if you are the incumbent, you can manipulate every sector of the public service, to work in your favor. And we have seen it happen in this country. That is possible. But, it will not be an easy ride for him. It will be a serious battle. He could win, but it could be a serious battle. And there's also a likelihood that he could lose, and we could end up with a new president in 2027.
All right. All right. Mr. Wangira, thank you so much. I will keep it this way. Do you know what time the voting will take place in AU? I'm hearing by 6 p.m. in the evening. We shall find out the results. I don't know what exactly the time that they'll be voting. Is it? I don't know how it works. I don't know if they are going to televise when the heads of states are voting, or is it just something that they'll just announce? Okay, these are the votes. Have you ever followed anything and know about how the process works?
All that I know is that it is a secret ballot, and a secret ballot is a secret ballot. So I don't know whether we'll be shown as the heads of the state cast their vote. I don't know whether we are going to be shown, but all that I've gotten is that by 6 p.m. Kenyan time tomorrow, which is not tomorrow, today, because we are already there. 6 p.m. Kenyan time today, we should know who the new chairperson of the African Union Commission is, or whether, the elections are going to be postponed for another 1 year.
I see Francis Gaito, they have a timetable for the AU elections. when Raila Odinga loses, there'll be a celebration. I'm telling you, tomorrow will be very interesting. It's either there'll be a mass embarrassment because there'll be 100 MPs plus Raila's entourage, personal, assistants and everybody and the family members flying back to Kenya.
Just like any other person, and our motto, your motto, and we being motto, we at some point we end up being biased. I belong to the school of thought that believes Raila Odinga should lose this particular election, and if he loses, this particular election, it will be big celebration for me here in Kenya.
Okay, tomorrow I will start early, so if you have your Neo internet, please make sure it works, Mr. Wangira, because I'll be here early. I want to cover this thing. I want to get real reaction.
Roughly what time Kenyan time, so that perhaps I keep it on record.
Okay, so they say because Kenya is in the same time zone with Ethiopia, same times, and they say the results should be coming in between 6 p.m. And 8 p.m. So I will start my coverage at 5 p.m. Kenyan time or 5:30.
Okay, what you do is
yes,
you'll put a notification so that I check. Just like you did today. Today there was a notification. That's why I was in a position to know that you'll be coming on air. So Wonderful. Put a notification, then I'll check and know what time you'll be coming on air.
Okay, so as long as you have your notification on, mmesikia hapo kwa chat, Eric Ayaga. Tomorrow I also want to see your face, and I want you to get, Eric Ayaga is one of those stalwart Raila followers and anything Raila. So I want to see everybody's reaction, and I will want people to come in tomorrow, and I will want to see everyone's faces also as they come in here, because we want to get a real reaction from real Kenyans about Raila's victory or Raila's loss. We want to see how things will go. But yeah, so yeah, he says election is 4 to 5 p.m. Then in less than an hour, results will be ready. That's what Ayaga is telling us. Let's see. Let me put it the screen here for everyone to see. So yeah, so okay, election will be between 4 and 5 p.m. Then in less than an hour, results will be ready. Okay, I will start then at I'll start at 4 then. I'll start at 4. I'll do my homework, but I'll put the notification so Wangira, you can get it. So everyone on the chat, please put your notification on. Tomorrow we have to, well, it's today in Kenya. Today, Sakumi, Yoni, I'll be here. We shall start the coverage, and please join us if you want to be part of it. Make sure you show up. You fix your camera, everyone, so we can see what happens, and we shall also dissect the possibilities. What will it mean for Kenya, for Raila winning the AUC or losing it? Now what's next? And what will... A lot of people are just... So many people think that there'll be doom and gloom, are assuming that Ruto will be in big trouble when Raila wins. They think that Raila... In fact, Wangira, I forgot to ask you this. Do you remember that speech that Raila gave in his the prayers that was organized by women, ODM women? He said something very interesting. He said, are you there, Wangira?
Yes, I watched where he said that, if he wins, it's well. If he does not win, it's still well.
Yes, but there's something also he said. Number one, he said that when things are bad, I can't just keep quiet. I have to speak up. And he said the abductions have to stop. Then he said something else which is very interesting, and I want you to get your view on this. He said that in 2007 or 2017, I won. Lakini nilinyang'anywa, waliiba. 2022 waliiba. Hawa watu wamezoea kuiba, ni tabia yao kuiba. Translation, these people, their behavior is to steal. Who was he referring to, Mr. Jared? Karibu sana, Brother Benson. Yeah.
So watu tabia yao ni kuiba.
Yes.
Does he mean that they are going to steal his vote, at the African Union Commission election?
That's why I was asking, who was he referring to when he said watu tabia yao kuiba? Who is going to steal that election? I mean, who is it?
And because this is a secret ballot. Yeah. It's a secret ballot. How sure are we that even William Samoei Ruto himself will vote for Raila Odinga? Do you remember the Jeremiah Kioni, the Jeremiah Kioni versus Musalia Mudavadi, when he was Musalia Mudavadi, running mate, and he ended up not voting for Musalia Mudavadi. So how sure are we? How sure are we that William Samoei Ruto will not be punishing Raila Odinga in Addis Ababa tomorrow? How sure are you? He could equally punish Raila Odinga tomorrow again.
Right. Yeah, to me, that statement really, I thought it was a very interesting one. And I just had a strong feeling that Raila maybe felt like he's not going to win this AUC position. Just based on that. Because if already you're going to an election, even for the heads of state, and you're already it's like you're preparing your followers to start contemplating a loss. And it will
And again, I'd forgotten before you go. This circus that was in Parliament just last week over, who are the majority and who are the minority. And, the sentiment by, Wakina Junaid Mohammed that it will get messy. You remember?
Yes.
I think, that was just a preparation. I believe that was just a preparation for the ground in case Raila Odinga loses. So if he loses, the first point of contact will be on who are the majority and who are the minority in National Assembly.
And that's why I say, and I like this, that's why I say when Raila Odinga comes back, his first order of business is to make sure that he has control of the legislative body. Once he has the control of the legislative body, Ruto will be at his mercy. And he will have to force Ruto to play ball. So Ruto will need him more than he needs Ruto. So if he tells Ruto, hey, nimekosa hii kiti, sasa tuendeleshe ile naandiko yetu, tupeleke hii kitu referendum. That's the next step. Or else, I will go join. Am I right? I heard some people say that there were some ODM people who are talking about going to meet Wamunyoro. Was it Babu Owino or what? Since Nani Sakaja was publicly endorsed by Raila. Was it ODM? Was there a section? Yeah.
You know, guys like Wakina Sifuna are being accused of belonging to the Wamunyoro group. They're already being accused of belonging to the Wamunyoro group. So you never know. Because, we are told that, in politics, things don't just happen. Everything is planned and scripted. So, when you hear people say that, there's a section of ODM that belongs to Wamunyoro, it could be true. And again, there's this what I call, the theory of organized confusion. It could be an organized confusion scheme by Raila Odinga to leave two factions of ODM for in case he loses, in Addis Ababa, then he'll have a reason to return home and start attacking.
Yes.
Unlike when he has ODM, everybody in ODM, singing William Samoei Ruto. Today, he has a section of ODM members who are strongly against William Samoei Ruto. So in case he loses, then he will have a point of contact. When he returns, he'll start by saying, I told you we don't want abductions. The court has ruled that we are the majority, we must be the majority. Then, he'll create, his usual controversies. Raila Odinga is very good at creating, controversies. And, that could weaken William Samoei Ruto and make William Samoei Ruto play by his ball.
Yes, I thought Sifuna meeting Kalonzo in that church in Nairobi was a sign that maybe Sifuna might be looking for new pastures. Okay, because Kalonzo is traversing the whole country, trying to put this coalition together. And when he was in Nairobi, he actually called Sifuna. Yes,
but there's something that you need to get it very, very clearly. Mm-hmm. I tend to think that Sifuna is an agent of Raila Odinga. Anything that Sifuna is doing today, it could look cumbersome, but he's an agent of Raila Odinga. Listen to last week when Wakina Nyang' Nyong'o, Wakina Ososi, Wakina Simbarati were in Kakamega. They say that whatever Sifuna says, reflects, the official position of the party, the official spokesperson of the party. So, they were defending Sifuna. So, just like I've told you that, Raila Odinga could have come up with an organized confusion scheme that in case, he loses at the African Union Commission, he has a fallback. Yes. And the only fallback that Raila Odinga needs, is to create some controversy. And
yeah. Oh, again, I think I lost it. But yeah, I noticed that Sifuna is not even in Ethiopia. Wangira, are you there? Oh, I lost Wangira. I lost Mr. Wangira. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. I think.
So I was telling you that, Sifuna is not in Ethiopia. Imagine he's not in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And today he attended Leonard Mambo Botela's funeral service.
Yes.
And he attended, he's not in Ethiopia. And he has also not been attending most of this ODM, meetings. Even the one that was in Kakamega, he never attended. The prayers that were at Bomas of Kenya for Raila Odinga, he never attended them. So, there's a scheme here that, that the majority of us could not be aware of. But, I see, what I always call, an organized confusion scheme that could be a generation of Raila Odinga for in case he loses, then, he'll have a fallback by creating controversies through people like Wakina Sifuna.
to me, I always, and I might be wrong, and you might be right. I feel like Sifuna is slowly distancing himself from ODM. And another one who is going to do the same is none other than Babu Ongeli Owino, with that official Ninio by Raila to Sakaja. I thought you saw that. In fact, Sakaja was even having that orange scarf for crying out loud. Okay, so I feel like maybe that Sifuna and Babu Owino, the most youthful members there, because remember Babu Owino has that connection with the Wamuchomba and all of them there. There's young whatever. So maybe if it becomes clear, especially after this AU thing, if it becomes clear where Raila, how Raila feels about Sifuna and Babu Owino, maybe they might be looking at another coalition instead of staying with ODM, because I feel like, especially Babu Owino is ostracized. People, ODM people within ODM, I don't think they feel like he's a troublemaker, or he's the most famous one, or he has the most influence within ODM and is young, and he might be a threat to some of them. Because I think ODM is a party that they're not really happy about people making a bunch of noise trying to question the leadership. Okay, so I feel like those two might, in history, down the line, as we continue, especially after the AU, they might jump ship if Raila comes back and puts his feet down, decides which direction he wants to go, whether he wants to go with the young people, the Babu Owinos, or he wants to go to Sifunas. I think that once that becomes clear, these two might jump ship. They might leave and go join Wamunyoro maybe and others. What do you think about Babu?
Anything is possible. In the political game, anything is possible, because politics is all about personal survival. So, you'll always jump where, you're sure that, you'll survive, because politics is a jungle. And a jungle, is the fittest and the strongest will only survive. So if you are weak, then you'll be eaten up. So you could be correct that, especially Babu Owino and Sifuna, they could be trying to read the weather. And, if the indicators are clear that, they will not be given an opportunity in ODM, they could jump ship. But again, it could be another scheme of, confusing people. And at the end of the day, they will just remain in ODM. Because where I stand, even that endorsement of, Sakaja by Raila Odinga, I don't think, it was from the heart, I think it was just something of the moment. But, when the real politics starts to play out, I don't think that, Raila Odinga will eventually support Sakaja to run on ODM as governor of Nairobi. The first reason why, I believe you not do that, because Sakaja has come out as an unperformer. His records, are even below those ones of, Mike Mbuvi Sonko in performance. His performance is below par. Secondly, Sakaja has no history of ever having supported Raila Odinga. Since 2013, he has never supported Raila Odinga. So, I don't think that Raila Odinga can sacrifice, a child who has stood with him, all along, like, Babu Owino, in the favor of Sakaja. I don't think so. So, those were just pronouncements, what I would call, obiter dictum. If it was in a court of law, that would just have been an obiter dictum. What Raila said, it's just an obiter dictum. Because, it's what in lay language we call, a by the way. It was just a by the way. And I don't think that it was a serious statement that, Sakaja should hang on. Because if he hangs on that statement, then he's likely to be disappointed, come 2027. So, eventuality, the way things will play around, it will all revolve around what will happen in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And again, the win for Raila Odinga could be a bigger disadvantage for even William Samoei Ruto, because he will already have won. He will be the chair of the African Union Commission. So, anaweza cheza ile siasa ya vitina chini kwa chini, chini ya maji, and he can join camp even with wakina his former party leader, his former chairman is Uhuru Kenyatta, and the wakina wa Munyoro and team, to ensure that William Samoei Ruto goes. Raila Odinga is playing politics of convenience today because he wants to become the chair of the African Union Commission. When he gets that position, I'm not convinced that he'll end up supporting William Samoei Ruto. He could end up punishing William Samoei Ruto. He could end up punishing him because he will be the chair of the African Union Commission. What he'll do is, he'll tell his people, kwa chini, don't vote for this guy. So, things are not, where I stand, William Samoei Ruto is just between a rock and a hard place. Irrespective of how things play out, it's between a rock and a hard place.
I agree. Apparently, Uhuru Kenyatta also made his way to Addis Ababa. So that is also an interesting development. I don't know, he's going there as Raila's personal friend or ameenda kufanya diplomasi yake pia. I have no idea. So it just, the Kenyan delegation just look really desperate to win this. They are seriously desperate. I mean, it is like the world is ending. If this guy doesn't win that AU seat, I have no idea what's going to happen. They are betting all their money on Raila Odinga. So it will be interesting to see what happens.
And if you want to know, let me tell you one thing. A hyena cannot become the keeper of your child. That it becomes what I would call the house manager in your house. It cannot be, because it will end up eating your child at the end of the day. What we call, fattening the python or fattening the snake. So, look at the people who accompanied Raila Odinga to Addis Ababa. A bigger team of each, are Kenya Kwanza people. So, these were people who have been sent to Addis Ababa, and they have been told to fast and pray that Raila Odinga wins. So that, if he wins, then perhaps we'll have a ground here to use. It's not that, it's not about the sincerity of the heart. It's about being opportunists. The opportunists, they're taking advantage of the moment. The real Raila supporters are not in Addis Ababa.
Yes.
I saw people like Wakina Keborek, people like this guy, lady called Nyamu. Those are the guys that are in Addis Ababa.
Beatrice Alachi, what's his name? The Kericho MP senator.
The Kericho senator. Aaron Cheroyot. Look at those are people. These are people who have been calling Raila Odinga names just the other day. Then how come that Raila Odinga today is an angel? How come that he's an angel?
I'm telling you, this is going to. I wanted to say that. Speaking of which, you might be right on Sakaja, because I don't know if you remember some few months ago. You remember Raila Odinga? He apologized to Tim Wanyonyi for settling for the Jubilee candidate in Nairobi. And everyone was saying, okay, Raila has officially endorsed Tim Wanyonyi, So now, months ahead now, 6 months or whatever months have passed now, we see that he's endorsing publicly, or maybe by the way, like you call it, he's doing the same thing with Sakaja. So this is an interesting, to me, the fact that Sakaja being a Kenya Kwanza guy or UDA, whatever the he is, he had that yellow scarf around his neck saying Mimi ni moja wenu, basically saying as if he's going to vie under ODM. How does this work? I need to go and review the political party act, because there's too much mchanganyiko maalum. I don't know what's going on.
Let me tell you one thing. Just like William Samoei Ruto, Sakaja is also a disparate person, because he has lost the constituency that brought him to become governor of Nairobi. Because there are the Kikuyu people who voted for Sakaja to become the governor of Nairobi, and they are no longer with him. And that's why he's desperate, thinking that, if he goes the ODM way, perhaps, the ODM membership can end up voting for him. So it's a disparate moment. And that's why, he's trying to stick on anything that can hold.
Yeah. And that might play to his disadvantage, because now, even if Babu Owino is distance himself from the ODM, Babu Owino is pretty, has a following within Nairobi. I mean, you can, well, I don't know how the lower part of Nairobi feels about Babu Owino. But I think the Luo part, and if the Kikuyu says they want to revenge on Sakaja by voting for Babu Ongili Owino, that's why Babu Owino is kind of associating himself with the Wamuchombas and so forth.
And you know, Babu Owino is their son-in-law.
There you
Babu
go.
Owino is their son-in-law.
Yes. So yeah. So you see how Babu Owino is in advantage in this Neon. Though if Tim Wanyonyi, who also I think is going to run this time, he will take all the Luya votes. So that might be
not necessarily. Not necessarily, because let me tell you, in politics, if you lose your moment, you have lost your moment. I think that this time, Babu Owino is coming out stronger than Tim Wanyonyi. And even minus ODM, Babu Owino could still be elected governor of Nairobi, where I stand.
Why would the Luyas would abandon Wanyonyi? Because I feel like the Luyas in Nairobi might feel like, hey, listen, Raila asked Tim Wanyonyi to stand down so they can go with Igade, like Nani is telling us here. Okay, and Igade, you had Raila apologized to Igade publicly and said, I made a mistake by settling for the Jubilee candidate because Uhuru asked me to do so. So this time, the lawyers will feel like, okay, Raila Nisha, it's time to give mkono to bless Wanyonyi to do so. So if he fails to do that, then they might just do that as an act of revolt, a rebellion from ODM.
There's this personal rapport that Babu Owino has built, especially in Embakasi East, across board. If you go, it does not discriminate whether you're Kikuyu, whether you're Kisi, whether you're Luya, whether you're Luo, you get some services. If it's bursary, everybody gets bursary. So, everybody is trying to own the cake of Babu Owino. So, that personal rapport is playing out, as an advantage for Babu Owino. And to where Tim Wanyonyi is, I see that the fire that propelled Tim Wanyonyi for 2022, seems to have died. And, if they were even to go to the ring, Tim Wanyonyi and Babu Owino, will be on the higher side.
So Tim will probably go back to where is his home?
And that's why, they even talk that, Tim Wanyonyi could go to run for governor for Bungoma. There are also speculation that he should go to run for governor of Bungoma.
Who is the current
because
governor?
I don't think that Bungoma, that's his, home county, Bungoma. Because in Nairobi, the dynamics in Nairobi today don't favor Tim Wanyonyi for governor. They don't favor him.
To me, I felt like, since, there's this division that is happening, there's all this tribalist reasoning where people are saying, the Bantus go with Bantus and Nilots go with Nilots. Maybe, like Eric Ayaga is telling us, maybe...
that's the trick that, that's the trap that Babu Owino avoided, and especially it's the reason why he even never voted against, regarding Gachagua, because he knew that there was a trap. That was a trap, and he avoided that trap, successfully. He avoided it very successfully, and Babu Owino, and that's why he's a confident guy, because he knows that he can be voted for across board, even minus ODM.
If he does that minus ODM, that will be interesting. But we will see after the AUC today. Later on today, we'll see. But anyway, Jared Wangira, thank you so much for being part of this discussion. I long to listen to your view on this politics as it happens. And again, as long as you put your notification on, please join me at 4 p.m. I will be live covering this whole AU thing. We'll break down what is happening, because I know there's a lot of breaking news coming from Addis Ababa, and hopefully you will join me and others also who are in the chat. Ayaga, I hope you'll be here too and join the... Ayaga, I know he's like, what is he saying? Area is silly of all must be given to a band. I don't know what he's saying. But yeah, So thank you so much, guys, for joining me for this quick live session. We shall also have another one tonight. I mean, this evening, so that we can see how things unravel in Addis Ababa, whether Raila Odinga is going to get this AU seat or not, and they will see the reaction. Niliona watu wanaimbaimba huko Addis Ababa, wanaimbia Raila 100 people in a big table. Hey, sherehe zimeanza na hata yawa. Hii itakuwa kali. So we shall see. Meet me here. It's an indoor event. What's an indoor event? Okay, what? Yeah, even if it's an indoor event or outdoor event, we shall get the results at some point. We shall get some results, and that the result is what we are interested in. We want to see who is going to win. So thank you so much, Mr. Wangira. Please get some sleep. We will need you tomorrow to be not too sleepy. Okay, so so thank you so much for your contribution. And Ayaga, Ayaga, you and your politics. Will be here also. Annie asanteni sana. Annie was telling me about Francis Gaito. I saw what Gaito ameandika hapo. Gaito is something else. It's so funny. And the numbers of all AUC polls are open. We saw that I think Miguna also posted something about Ninio. The results. Let me see. Let me just show the polls. I think it's in Gaito tweeted it from Miguna's page about the current poll, the possibility, possible votes that will go to Raila Odinga and the rest. Let's just take a quick look at it as we approach the D-Day, the hour of truth, the moment of truth. We want to find out what is going on. Let's just take a look at it. Let's go to Francis Gaito's page. Let's see. Gaito. Francis, ndio hiyo. Haya, sasa ndio hiyo. I think it has been renewed by, hold on. Oh, if I can share it. Can you guys see the screen, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades? All right, it's loading. Give me a few seconds. It's just loading. All right, Basi. Can you guys see it? There's Gaito stuff. Let's see. It's slow, but it's working. Okay. Well, this is what Iguna is writing. He's saying these are the numbers when the ANC polls open. Africa listens when we speak. Bon, I can't say that French word, but bon. Is it bon voyage? Bon voyage? Bon voir? Bon voyage? I don't know. Your trip back. Bonavi. I think it's Bonavi or something. Bonavi. But whatever the case is. On your trip back, Conman Raila Odinga and your primitive choir of 300. He said, these are the numbers of the AC Open Africa listens when you speak about something on your trip back, Conman Raila Odinga and your primitive choir of 300 thieves. Thank you, Africa rejects Raila Odinga. Whoever says disappoints. People never disappoints. I'm telling you, this is fun. This is so funny. This is so funny. Anyway, what other stuff is going on? Is it loading? Okay, there it is. It's I think it has loaded yet. There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, it's not. All right. I think you guys can see the screen. You can see the screen. And your screen here. All right, let's get back to the main now. The main in you. But anyway, guys, please do not take a minute and like the video. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the stuff. Put the notification on. We shall be bringing you live. We shall bring you live. Oh, I'm echoing. Poleni. Let me see. Why am I echoing? I'm echoing. So, Paul, I'm being attacked by the usual stuff, the usual people. Is it still echoing? Baduna echo. All right. I hope I'm. But yeah, listen, we shall bring you some live coverage of the AUC results. Am I still echoing, ladies and gentlemen? All right, let me try something else. Hold on, just give me a minute. I will be lost for a minute, but here, give me 2 seconds. All right. Are we still echoing? All right. How is it right now? Still echo? Echo? Let me know in the chat. Is there still echo? I hope not. Okay, it's okay now. All right. Like I told you guys, we're being attacked here and there. We know the usual suspect, but hey, listen, guys, please go ahead and like it. Like Finyani, you like. We are going to have another session later today in Kenya, so we can have a full coverage of the AU results. Okay, we shall have a full coverage and see who wins. Hopefully, it will not have. We don't have to wait till they go for 3 rounds or whatever the case is. Probably the second round is what it will go to. I don't think they'll have the winner in the first round because there's so much. Maybe you never know, but I doubt. I think we'll have to go to the second round of voting, and a winner shall be announced. And let's see. I don't think Raila Odinga will win. And if he doesn't win, it will be a huge, humongous, embarrassment with all those 300 people that went up there to Mlaki. Okay, these people wanamlaki kama bwana Yesu jamani. Hii kitu. Oh crap. Anyway, I wanted this other one. Yeah, so we'll get you connected with what's happening. Hold on, guys. Let me. Okay, hold on. Yeah. As I continue to give you what you need, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is election night, AUC live, 4 p.m. Kenyan time and Saudi Arabia time, Ethiopian time. We shall be bringing you news about AU chairmanship, the winner. Okay, so stay tuned. We'll be here for you.
For more details on this, we join our crew in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, as Duncan Haimba joins us with the latest from the African Union Commission chairmanship race, which is just in less than 12 hours to go. Haimba. For more details on this, we join our crew in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa. As Duncan Haimba joins us with the latest from the African Union, hours to go. Haimba, many thanks for joining us tonight. It is all systems set for that AUC election tomorrow. What's the latest so far?
Indeed, Michelle, it is all systems go. Time for that eagerly awaited showdown. Will it be Raila Odinga? Will it be the Djibouti candidate, Mahamoud Yusuf? Will it be the Madagascar candidate? All that will be knowing in less than 12 hours. Today, it has been a beehive of activity for Raila Odinga. He was joined by a team of members of parliament, I was able to see governors there. We saw all other friends as well. Over 60 Kenyans joined Raila Odinga, and that was as at lunchtime. We are not so sure how many more have arrived this evening, how many more will be arriving early in the morning. Remember, it is just a 2-hour flight from Nairobi to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So the numbers will keep swelling. Addis Ababa is literally teeming with Kenyans because of this high-stake AUC chairperson election, just like it was in 2017, but this time round, I think the stakes are a bit higher, and therefore, it goes without saying that it has to do with the candidates that are actually participating in this year's or this season's contest. To give you a quick update on what happened today here at the African Union headquarters, it has been a day that was heavy on peace and security. Mid-morning, there was the high-level conference on humanitarian, a high-level humanitarian conference on the people of Sudan. The delegates here were basically discussing the situation, the dire situation that has been going on, the long-running civil war in the Sudan that we saw in 2023, another war again sprouting, and many are concerned that the world seems to be giving or shifting its attention elsewhere when that civil war that has been running for years still continues. So in the afternoon, when they came back, the heads of state now went in, the Peace Security Council went in for another engagement. First of all, it was the briefing on the situation in Sudan. Again, they were having the reports on what needs to be done now as a matter of urgency. And then now, after that, at around 6 p.m., they shifted to Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
All right, guys. All right, guys. That's the news for now. Please join me. Put your notification on. Join me at 4 p.m. Kenyan time. Sorry, guys. I was looking at something. Join me at 4 p.m. Kenyan time so we can have a full coverage of what's going on in the AU. Until then, my name is Kenyan Revolutionary. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and do all the good stuff. Thanks very much for Pripa Kaur, Eric Ayaga, Mr. Wangira, who was here, who joined us in this wonderful discussion, Mr. Green. I don't know if you missed or missed. Anika Makawaida, Brother Benson. Who else? Everybody else who was part of this discussion. Thank you so much. And for you guys who are watching in the back, thank you so much. I'll see you at 4 p.m. where we cover back to back, step by step, everything that's happening in Ethiopia. Until then, thank you so much. Peace and blessings, and I'll see you later. I'm out.